And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect 7 years ago. Because Dalan, Joey, and I, well, we didn't like being told, don't do that. So we did it. I push red buttons all the time. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. It's good to be with you guys. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, pretty much everywhere under that name you can find me. That's Shujin. At the moment, we have a short crew. I'm intentionally expecting that will change. I hope. There's reasons. From the top left-hand corner of North America, Dalan made it back. Hi.
Good evening.
And from the Midwest of the U.S., so down and to the right just a little bit, Brigid. Hi.
Good evening.
It's good to be back with you guys. As I said, it's our 365th show. We haven't been doing it for 365 contiguous weeks because there have been a couple of times we have been able to do it. But 7 years worth of show, man, that's nothing to sneeze at. I think we've done pretty well. So it's good to be.
That's more than a lot of podcasts have lasted. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true.
And I was late to the party. I finally figured out which episode I joined, and it was number 64. So,
did you know? You're right.
Yeah, I'm here now. That's what counts.
All right. So that's actually really cool. So everybody, thank you very much for being with us. We'll just say that straight away. And I'm going to tell all of you folks the same thing that I tell folks for my radio streams. I do this because I want to. I don't do it to entertain you. You're just along for the ride. And if you've been with us for any length of time whatsoever, thank you. It means that we connect in some way. To borrow a phrase, I ain't going to be picking out draperies with you or nothing, but it's nice to know that we've got folks out there who are family, shall we go with.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that are, of course, with us, enjoying it live, on YouTube, you can go ahead and join us on the chat all the time. Stephanie, good to have you over there. And additionally, because this is kind of a special occasion, I have opened up a special channel for us over in the Discord server. So if you take a swing over to our Discord server, which is whatever the link is, I don't know what it is. We have the voice and video system open over there so that folks can interact with us directly. And I did put out the word to a number of places to see if anybody would like to join us. I'm unfortunately haven't gotten anything back yet, apparently, other than a couple of would love to be able to do it. So it is what it is. As a quick recap, Joseph might not be here, might be here. Not quite sure how that's playing out right now. Things being early in the morning and with the way that stuff has been working for him could be a little, he might still be passed out asleep. Again, considering it's dark stupid in the morning for him over there, the fact that he shows up at all is, pretty impressive in and of itself. I did hear from UnrenownedTech. He has obligations that he's dealing with, so he's not going to be able to be with us, but he does send his regards. I would say love, but truth be told, I don't want to be dealing with any biological samples. Thank you very much. I did hear from Joey, who is still dealing with his own family stuff, and currently is without power, which doesn't exactly help either. So our hopes, our thoughts are still out to you, man. We're hoping things clear up in quick due course. No, he is not in Texas, so it's got nothing to do with that. I'm sorry. Was that a dig at Texas? I'm sorry. And yeah, that covers folks. I did extend out an invitation to Witchy Bunny to see if he might be interested in joining us. That unfortunately I did not hear back. He is okay. Witchy was one of our earliest co-hosts, and doing okay for himself. Let's see. Who else did we put the word out to? I intentionally got over myself and sent out invitations to Frank and Dan from Thank God I'm Atheist, who know me over there as Sparkle Darkle Pony. There is a story. I'm not going to go into that right now. And did put out the word to, most, if not all, of the old Atheists on Air crew. So I don't know that anybody, by crew, I mean family. So Bobby and Ashley, Susie and Bob. So it'll be what it'll be. That's okay. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to. All you need is a microphone. You don't have to have video, because obviously if you look on the video screen, you'll see these two guys over here. There's no video for them. And that's okay. Also because it helps to cut down the bandwidth a little bit for me. So that's fine by me. Yeah, I don't have a grand bandwidth upstream, so it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I decided not to do camera tonight. Sorry.
Not a worry. Not a worry. So I did ask Tiny Tribble to help me picking out tonight's drink of choice. And he's decided, since I said earlier that I had had enough coffee to hold me over, but I didn't say the hold me over part. He said, yeah, the coffee one over here. Yeah, let's not go ahead and do that then. So he's decided we're going to go with the rice lager from Ellicottville. The Ellicottville Brewing Company. Craft lager with green tea and pomegranate. I have no idea how this is going to taste. Although he looked at the other one that said milkshake and was like, what? Which is pretty much what our collective attitude to it was, if I remember right. So, we got that. While I am pouring, let's just have a real quick check-in. How are you guys holding up at the moment? Because, I am very much a go nowhere, do nothing kind of personality still, so I don't have anything really changing for me. Brigid, how are you holding up so far this week? That good, huh?
Yeah.
Well, alrighty
Yeah.
then. That case, Dalan, over to you in the studios.
Been doing okay. Just, glad to be working again, glad to be back in the world, so to speak. And
bouncing off the walls like Pinkie Pie.
yeah, well, and today is my 1 week of 1 week since shot number 2 of the COVID vaccine. And sadly, no superpowers yet, but the 5G is feeling really good.
You got 5G?
He's in Canada.
Apparently.
They have everything better up there. Are you kidding me?
All I got was Windows 95 and the blue screen of death.
You could have done worse.
Not much.
Microsoft
I feel like
Bob
I've been
for
ripped off.
Microsoft Bob for Windows 95 on 13 floppy disks. Remember that. That was a
Well,
thing.
that's true, but blue screen of death was devastating to me, especially when I was playing EverQuest, and bad things would happen to you when you went like dead or you happened to crash. Like you would die and lose all your stuff.
That sucks. And Dalan, I'm guessing we probably can't exactly talk about it, but I think it's fair to say, like I said, you had a very much Pinkie Pie bouncing off the walls moment. And to you,
Yeah,
I salute you.
yeah, it was a work related thing. I've been there less than 2 months and still kind of learning my way through things. But of course, the workload must come and must be done. And you know, apparently the company I work for has done some pretty big clients in the past, and one of those big clients just happened to cross my desk this week. And as you know, Shujin, I
Mm-hmm.
quite literally went into orbit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Nice.
maybe not necessarily literally, but it
But sorry, yeah,
if the text scream across Discord to me was anything to go by, you might as well have been.
yeah, it was quite the thing.
It was impressive. It
Yeah.
was quite impressive.
That is so wonderful to hear.
Oh yeah.
My work thing this week. Uh, I'll have to talk more about it later, but one of the things that I mean, it's a minor thing, but it's still kind of made me do face palms and head desks, and I'm probably going to have permanent indentations from it. Is, I was recognized for a couple of service awards and, another thing, and HR is the one who puts out this newsletter and managed to misspell my name 3 different times, 3 different ways in the same paragraph. And if you're gonna misspell or butcher my name, at least do it one consistent way. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
Alrighty then.
I Oh. And she's also guilty of apostrophe abuse, but that's just, another thing that kind of makes me go,
I'm not going to get involved in that one because I am very much screw it. I'm going to do it. I am very much of the opinion of S apostrophe for possessive and leave it at that because I am an old school pedant about it.
you
And
don't have to have an apostrophe S just because there's a freaking S. I'm just saying.
that's why I'm saying possessive S apostrophe done. That's it. You don't need anything more. Thank you. But
And I figured that anybody who's in HR should know better. I'm just saying.
one would think.
One would think.
One would think. So let me go ahead, get the opening done. We'll get to the horrible scopes, and we'll move it along because we've got we've got things that are happening immediately afterwards. So, assuming that I've got everything lined up correctly on my OBS system, because this is going to be funny. Oh, let's see if I've got it right. Your 5-minute freestyle. I got it right! With 5 minutes on the clock starts right now. Kicked. I've talked about this ad nauseum. It is fair to say that there is probably going to be a number of people who are just, okay, yeah, you talked about it already. Just get over yourself. Get done with it already. Just leave it. I can't. I can't. Roughly 6 years ago, I got my ass kicked. It's fair to say that that's exactly what ended up happening. Figuratively speaking, of course. 6 years ago, I was really debating whether or not to make this its own show. It started on my personal YouTube page, and we got about a year into it. I was really debating whether or not, it's worth going ahead and doing. And we talked much more about religious stuff. Much more. Much, much, much more. We don't quite as much now because, well, truth be told, there's nothing new to talk about. We'll do every once in a while because inevitably there is some dumbass that's going to use religion as an excuse to do something. They always do. But 6 years ago, I was really debating, is it worth doing? Should we continue? Is it worth bothering for? And at the time, Atheists on Air was still a thing. And Cash, I cannot talk. highly enough about. And I have many a time. Cash, I got in touch with him personally. And I asked him, I don't know. What should I do? Should I even bother? Should I keep going? Should I just wrap it up if I'm like really questioning what I should be doing? And in a nutshell, he explained it to me. And a little while later, he put out his own video about it. He put it up on SoundCloud too, just the audio portion. Dear Atheist Podcaster. You know, if you go search that up, you'll be able to find it, if memory serves, it's still up there. Dear Atheist Podcaster. And it boiled down to, if you knew that you were going to help one person, just one, but it was going to cost you. It was going to cost you a couple $100, maybe inevitably, $1,000, maybe $2. It's going to cost you some sleepless nights. Going to cost you some worry. It's going to cost you. But you knew that you were going to end up helping that one person that needed your voice, that helped them move along, to get them out of whatever it was that was really pushing them down, grinding them down. Would you do it? Knowing full well you're not going to get any of that back. Whatever it is that you're investing, that money, that time, that sleep, you're not getting that back. And I answered the only way that I could, the only way that the vast majority of us would. Of course. How could I not? Then, brother, what the hell is stopping you? So, I found the information, I put the stuff together, and I set up HCTV with its own channel, to have its own following, to have its own social presence, to be its own voice, separate from mine. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that it's just that Cash kicked me. He inevitably ended up getting me to kick this, to get this started, to make this happen. Do I think that this is a project that's going to outlive me? Going by how podcasts operate, probably not. But the message will. They can't stop the signal now. So we've kicked off a year worth of shows. And let me tell you, I have every intention to keep on kicking down the road. And for the first time in a long time, I actually ended right on the 0 point. That was actually pretty nifty. Episode 365 on the docket. Happy 1 year anniversary, sorta. Because, 365 episodes divided by 52 weeks in a year, that comes out to 7 years that we've been at this. Plus a little bit more because, there has been the occasional off week. And I did a rough, off the top of my head, kind of guesstimate about it. And I'm guessing that I was somewhere in the vicinity of like 360 of those shows as primary host. Roughly. I know Dalan has handled a couple of them because, there were conventions, but not that many. So, I know it was less than that, but not very much. So 345, 60, 50, 345. Yeah, that's a fair number over the course of 7 years. So all of you who have been part and parcel of it, thank you. So let's go ahead, get rolling with the horrible scopes, and we'll roll our way out of here. And remember, if you had already joined us on air, you could have helped read us too. So for those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, copy off of everybody else's homework because you're used to doing that anyway. Don't bother paying some kid to do it for you. Just take their lunch money, whatever. It's all good. Getting started. Aries. The man on your street corner wearing a sandwich board that reads, "The end is nay," is a brony with poor spelling habits and way behind the times. Ask him who is best princess, then tell him it's Spike. Enjoy the red shift in his face from the answer. Dalan?
Alrighty. Taurus. The stars have pretty much had it with you this week, Taurus. Your superiority complex isn't making you any friends. Just tone it down and just listen to people for a change.
Gemini. Do not trust Scorpio this week, Gemini. They're plotting something with every breath you take. If they invite you anywhere, bring something sturdy to defend yourself with. A Zippo and a small can of Aquanet should suffice.
Might want to be paying attention to what happens here. Cancer Moonchild. The sun will rise, the galaxy spin, civilizations shall rise and fall. And we're still waiting for you to make a move in this Dungeons & Dragons game. Pick an action and roll the damn dice already.
Leo. Last week, we warned you that your good luck wasn't going to hold out, and you surprised us, Leo. You actually paid attention and stopped gambling as soon as you saw your luck changing. And since you weren't greedy about it, the universe has decided to be merciful and grant you a mediocre week ahead. Take a bath instead of a shower to enjoy the downtime.
Virgo. This week you should do some self-reflection, Virgo. Start with a singular idea, close your eyes, and let the thoughts flow through you. Here's your first topic to get the ball rolling. Maybe the Blues Brothers had the right idea all along.
Yeah, don't lie to the penguin. Libra. Telling you to revive old YouTube video series might not have been our best suggestion. We forgot to include one important catchphrase for you. Pumice stone dust. Don't breathe this. On the bright side, we now know that putting a Capri Sun pouch in a microwave is a good idea, since it'll explode and put out the fire. So, yay, science?
Feels kind of circular.
Well, it's got a revolving disc inside.
Well,
so,
no. Yeah, okay. Obvious, really bad puns aside. To extinguish the fire that it itself created.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel very beneficial, more self-serving. More like, look at me, I can kick my... Well, actually, no. Being the ability for somebody to kick their own ass could actually be a good thing in certain... never mind. Let's just move on here.
Yeah,
Self-ownage.
Yeah, the people that need to kick their own asses are usually the ones that never think it's necessary, so...
Yeah. Anyways, Scorpio. Gemini's been looking a little down lately. Do something nice for them this week and throw a small party. But make it a surprise. Make it a Spider-Man themed party and give everyone silly string web shooters. It'll bring out the kid in all of you.
That actually sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'll explain about that in a minute.
Sagittarius, you only think your dreams don't make sense. Let's recap what happened in it. You were standing in an open field west of a White House with a boarded front door and a small mailbox next to you. You open the mailbox and find a leaflet you can't read. Take a flashlight to bed this week and you might be able to read it, or protect yourself from crews.
It's a bunch of people who lived through 1980. Oh, thank you. I was going to say, there's a bunch of people from 1981 right now who are just like, ooh, Lodestar 8,1, yeah.
Oh, Zork was the best.
Capricorn, your Gemini friends will be in need of protection this week. Now's your chance to break out the fake cigarette with a knife in it, or the fake brush with a knife in it, or the fake knife with a liquor bottle in it. Aren't you glad you bought that 3D printer now?
Aquarius, it's time for you to try something you've wanted to for a long time now. Look, making lasagna from almost scratch isn't that tough. Just remember that you'll need a bit more liquid in the sauce to properly cook the noodles. Blending your own tomatoes will help here. Uh, Ask Libra for help in that department.
Sees. Scientific investigation has proven that what we thought was waterlogged fingers or pruned fingers from being wet too long is actually a physiological reflex.
You said it right the first time. Thank you.
Why are we telling you this? Because we know you tune out whenever we talk about scientific information, and honestly, we don't want to be bothered telling you what the stars really think about you.
I'm sorry. I'm digging on Dalan just a little bit because he almost said the wrong term last night.
Yeah, I almost okay. Yeah, well, we did this last week. I said I almost said psychological.
Ah,
Except if it no, but the thing is, if it was psychological, then I don't know. Only we would see it. You're like, look at my fingers; they're pruned. No, they're not. You look fine. What's wrong with you?
That would actually be a psychological problem because if you're seeing prunes, that's yeah, that's probably a really bad day that you're having.
Yeah, if you're seeing prunes, I'd be talking to your dealer pretty quickly and making sure that the stuff you're getting is at least passes some kind of FDA regulation. Oh wait, you guys don't have that stuff regulated yet, do you?
Not as
no.
such. Working on it.
And sadly, we do have something related here where we've been warned that people who are, dealing quote unquote Xanax here, it's been cut with fentanyl.
Oh, geez. So, yeah, that's just making a bad day worse.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I'm waiting for the headline. Florida man says this cocaine doesn't pass the quote unquote sniff test.
That's actually really good. Mm,
I like it.
I'm
Now,
surprised.
see
How the hell have
if
I
I
never heard that joke until now? That's actually
you know
that's good.
Good.
yeah, if I had more mainstream opinions, I could probably be a journalist. But right now, I'd probably either be canceled, deplatformed, and shot. Actually, no, I'd be all of the above.
Well, if you ever happen to run across a story about cocaine in Florida, be sure to submit that to the FARC main page as a headline. I'm sure it would get greenlit, which is a huge thing on FARC. After
I'll
11 years of trying, I finally had one greenlit last week. I'm so proud.
Good on you there.
given that Florida news article I read last night, and then proved that Florida actually has laws on the books that are systemically stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so much
Anyways,
stupid stuff happens down in Florida that there's a Florida tag on FARC, which is just ridiculous to have a Florida tag.
yeah, well, I know, but what I'm saying is that they actually have laws on the books that prove, like this is a chapter and verse receipt that there is stupidity in the system.
Yeah, it's
But
Florida for you.
Yeah.
They put
yeah.
the duh in Florida.
Anyways, guys, like I said, something just popped up. Nothing major. I'm okay. Everything's fine, but I am needed elsewhere, so I do have to take off, unfortunately.
Okay.
For the rest of the night?
I'm afraid so.
Okay. If time permits, of course, you'll welcome back. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
I'll-
you take care of yourself, man. Thank you.
all
And
right. Take it.
I can't tell you how much I have to thank you for everything. So you take care of yourself, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Take it easy, guys.
Cheers. So that leaves us with room for more people to join us, at some point. That would be really nice. Oh, yes, I need to backtrack just a little bit on the horrible scopes. Okay, so some people might have been kind of wondering a little bit about a piece. The Silly String in concert with Zippos and Aquanet. Silly String does not work well around open flame, and Zippos and Aquanet give you a lot of very, very open flame. So don't do that.
That's true. It is flammable even after you've sprayed it on your hair.
Yeah,
Trust me.
yeah, and this is part of the reason why you should absolutely never go looking on YouTube for videos of birthday cake and silly string. You absolutely should not go ahead and do that. Totally should do that. Don't do that.
And if you're still using Aquanet or FinalNet, which is just as bad as Aquanet, do not go near any open flames, birthday cake, candles, or otherwise.
Or don't go camping with. God damn, if you're going camping and you're taking Aquanet with you, you get what you deserve at that point. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is really, really terrible, but when I was a kid, we used to go camping quite a bit down at this lake, and for fun, some cousins and I decided to throw some empty hairspray cans into the bonfire that we had in one of those old metal barrels.
Okay, now here's where I get to show my age. There are two, count them one, two different designs that were used for these aerosol cans. One was an all metal construction. The second had a little rubber stopper in the center on the bottom in the butt of the curved. So I'm guessing this would have been in the years while they still had all metal construction and didn't have that safety valve, right?
I can't remember if it had the safety valve or not. I do remember those. But
Hun,
I think these were cans without, and the boom was pretty impressive.
hun, if it produced a boom, it was before the boom all metal construction. Full stop.
Well, I never said that we were very bright.
That's true. Well, I mean, when they exploded and all the brilliance came from it, yeah, for a little while, yes, you were all very bright, temporarily, very short.
Well, none of us got hurt or lost any eyes or anything, and it was fun.
Yes, no worries. As Stephanie is saying, by the way, I prefer talking. Pardon me. I prefer writing to talking, and COVID has messed up my voice. Sometimes fine, sometimes croaking. So I will continue to use this. No argument. None whatsoever. The fact that you're even there in the first place is, as far as I'm concerned, and consequently, well, I don't care what the rest of the staff says. As far as I'm concerned, I'm grandly proud for even just that. Like I've said on many an occasion, it's more than just me here and talking and doing the show. That's what I hope for.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry to still, to hear that you're still struggling with long COVID symptoms and
Agreed. Heavily agree.
yeah.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about that. Since we opened up the table, and we're not going to be talking about all heavy topics tonight, not by a long shot. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna have a little bit of kibitz and everything. So don't sweat it too much. Since we talked about a couple of moments of COVID, over here in my county, in particular, Erie County, New York, where Buffalo is located. So take a look on a map and go from New York City and go west about as far as you can before you hit Canada. That's kind of where I am. Sort of. Apparently, 90% of the new COVID cases that are coming in, which has been, the infection rate has been dropping. We're getting very close to the 0 point of new cases, no new cases kind of thing. 90% of them coming in at this point are from people who are, and help me out on this one, Brigid, because you're more medically trained than me. Is the term unvaccinated? Is am I pronouncing that correctly?
You are, and you are correct.
Yep.
I have seen the same thing posted by your friendly neighborhood virologist, and also saw our wonderful vice president say the same thing.
Yeah.
That, I mean, there's a few breakthrough cases of people who have been vaccinated and can't hold immunity for whatever reason.
And before we move past that point, We know that this happens. We
Hmm.
accept that this happens because that's the way it happens. You
Yeah.
want people who get vaccinated to have a as close to 100% rate of not contracting, but we know full well there is never going to be that. So,
Right.
you know, 80% is a damn sight better
Yeah, but you're right that most of the cases that are being admitted are people who were not vaccinated,
and refusing to be.
and they're refusing to be, and they're by and large a huge overlap with the people who just would not wear a mask.
Yeah. And I want to make sure that I put that one out there very, very, very clearly. We're talking about people who have refused vaccination, not people who are not allowed or not able to tolerate, people who are too young to be allowed to get vaccinated. We're talking about people who have steadfastly refused for whatever stupid reason because and the best one that I've seen so far was I don't want to put chemicals in my body. Spoilers, everything is made of chemicals. Everything that is not energy is made of chemicals by its very definition. So screw you and your feelings, you absolute cretin.
Oh, I saw a good one last week too, where the nurses that were in Texas that uh, were given opportunities to seek other employment in the state of Texas because they refused to get vaccinated. I saw that this is wrong, this is discrimination. And I'm like, have you not heard of at-will employment? And also, as far as I know, the vaccine hesitant people are not a protected class under the 14th Amendment.
Nope, nope. And the people who have been people historically who have refused to do for the better good of society, who have been medical problems, shall we say, have been met with much more severe situations. Yet again, I have to pull out the name Typhoid Mary, yet again, because it's like nobody remembers that this was a real person. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I just don't.
yeah, most of the cases that we, still have going on in our state are people who are not vaccinated, don't wear masks, and they are super spreaders. You do have some people that are super spreaders.
Yeah. As a follow up to that, you remember the what was the biker convention that
Yes.
do we have? I hadn't really thought about it until literally just this couple of moments ago. Ha, do you know if there was any kind of follow up as far as to the study that went along with that?
I haven't, you're talking about Sturgis, and I haven't
Yeah,
heard anything about that. The last estimate that I had heard, that was in the news was that they were responsible for at least 75,000 cases, directly.
and
And
it was a gathering of what 12,000.
I'm not sure how many thousands it was, but I mean, it was, if not 100,000, close to it. I don't remember the exact number, but that rally absolutely should not have happened. And I know that the locals were adamantly opposed to it. And, the mayor was like, we don't care what you want. We're having it.
Once upon a time, if you went ahead and you did something stupid like that, wasn't it that the people would simply rise up and take the mayor out of town and throw him on a horse and tie his hands to the pommel and just slap the horse and say, "Yeah, you're done."
I mean, yeah, but I think the local population there was only something like 3,400. I mean, it's not a large place.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Sadly,
And maybe a lot of them were being smart, staying locked down.
Yeah. So that's a piece that we've had to deal with during this time. You know, we've had a lot of stories over the years. And I can't believe I can actually say over the years. God, it feels so old man of me to do. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Get off my lawn.
I don't want to hear it. But we have we have covered a lot of things over the years. Some of it, a lot of it, has been religiously motivated. That was pretty much the one of the biggest reasons why we wanted to do the show. You know, that's also part of the reason why it got named the way that it did. I'm apparently really good with coming up names for stuff, so you know, good on me.
You are.
But the problems that we've dealt with over the years from the religious aspects have been positively mind-boggling and in some cases heart-wrenching. And yet we still plow on. You know, we've got various stories of what is the Catholic Church, not where I'm going. You're not thinking where I'm going yet. Who did not want to be under the same rules as everybody else when it came to managing adoption agencies. They wanted special privilege. I'm not going to say right privileges to discriminate against the LGBTQ community. Why? Well, it goes against our sincerely held beliefs. Yeah, I've got a sincerely held belief that I should be kicking you in the nards, lady. But you don't see me doing that. You know, we've followed up on stuff like that, and it hurts to see this stuff, but it's also simultaneously been heartwarming to see groups who've come out in opposition to these kinds of things as well. And I'm very happy to say that it happens. There are groups that actually come out. Individuals, groups, ragtag individuals. And yet, you know, things are changing. They always do. It takes time, but at least we know full well that our voices are not the only ones.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the, Episcopalian Church
Oh, yeah.
and, ordaining women now and, allowing same-sex marriage and, you know,
And
all
pissing off
sorts of different.
some of the fellow parishioners, but at the same time, they're basically saying, look, what do you want us to do? It's love. And
Yeah. And, the United Churches of Christ, they're not under any one, leadership, but even some of them have, really evolved over the last several years. And, they're also solemnizing, same-sex marriages and being very welcoming and things like that.
yeah, I'm very much questioning what the average age is for the people in those congregations. I have to believe that they are far and away younger by a good 20 years than those that are still in the Catholic Church.
Don't know. A really good friend of mine who was, three grades ahead of me and, was a former Church of Christ person like myself, which I consider a cult.
And rightly so.
She ended up getting married about 10 years ago to the head of her parish. I guess their parishes. I'm not sure about the Episcopalian Church. And, she's one of these people who's very pro LGBTQ and took place in the Moral Mondays, in North Carolina and things like that. And she's been, very proactive in this for many, many years. And I'm seeing some of the teachers that I had in high school who were also very pro LGBTQ. So well, he's also ended up converting to Episcopalian from Church of Christ as well. And he's, I think he's probably 70 by now, at least
You know,
70.
grand
And
scheme of things,
that's heartening to me.
yeah, well, I was going to say, grand scheme of things, thinking back on it now, that's not exactly a hard sell to me.
It's not, but to see people that are older than I am coming around and being very proactive, I mean, it's heartening to me. And it also stunned me after, was it Massachusetts that was the first state to allow same-sex marriage? I can't remember.
I think so, but
But to see it so happen so rapidly across much of the country after the first couple of states, I never thought I would see it in my lifetime, but to see it after the first couple of cases was amazing.
two things. One, you saying people older than you do realize that the demographic is getting smaller and smaller every day, right?
It is getting smaller, but I'm 54 years old. And, a lot of my friends that are my age and older have come around.
Yep, yep.
And I think that that's awesome.
It is. It is very much so. It is also conversely incredibly disheartening for me to see some of the people that I grew up with that I have had to since remove from my social media circles because they've turned into incredible I don't know what the right term for it would be, racist bigots. I'm going to go with that.
I've had to do the same thing myself.
Yeah, people that I
With
thought were otherwise, smarter than that, who went to
Mhm.
college. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I use that because, as we've seen, the people who have tended to be decently educated, I'll go with that, decently educated through high school and even some college, tend to be the people who end up into the quote unquote capital P progressives area. So,
No, I've seen a lot of mine actually go further to the right, and it's just disgusting.
yeah,
People that were in my class.
yeah, that hurts. Now, I'm kind of also wrapping into that because of what Stephanie was also saying. It's not going to seem like it makes sense, but just go with me here. Stephanie's saying, and now we have the Delta variant, which is more virulent and more infectious.
Yep.
A, correct me if I'm wrong, is the term virulent and infectious synonymous, or are there
No.
differences in those two that I, as a layperson, don't actually know what the difference is?
Virulent means that it causes more severe disease.
Okay.
And that's, apart from being more infectious. And from what I have read in the latest study, if the, R value for, the wild type, the, variant that came over here from Wuhan was 3, this one is like 7.5. So it's over 100% more contagious.
Ooh,
And it's also hospitalizing and giving serious, serious illness to younger people.
oh God.
It's also causing some breakthrough infections, and the Sputnik version of the vaccine, the government of Brazil actually declined, getting any doses of this from Russia. One, because it was only tested on 38 people. And for 2, it's practically worthless against that variant. And the latest numbers that I was able to find, they're not putting out their data. And so the one study that they have in the Lancet from Russia doing their own research. They said that Sputnik is 91% effective against the Delta variant, and they're full of crap. And they're refusing to actually publish their data in this journal. So a lot of scientists are going, something doesn't smell right here.
Yeah, a 90 or 90 plus in biology doesn't sound quite kosher to me either. By the way, over in the chat, Beth, hi, hon. I hope that you're taking good care of yourself. It's good to
Yeah,
see
and
you.
if you want to join us, come on in.
Yeah, the water's fine. And now what I wanted to kind of bring together with the racist bigot thing and the have the Delta variant. There have been there have been there has been, I can talk, a very hard push from the scientific community to really make sure that groups are using a standardized terminology for each of these variants as they have been happening, so that they're no longer to be referred to, they shouldn't have been from the start referred to by any kind of geographic location, political affiliations, or anything like that. So call it so that people would not be able to call it, for instance, Kung Flu. You, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on to my F. But you know full well I don't have nearly enough F in me right now to get that one out. So calling them by geographic areas has been frowned upon, and the scientific community is really pushing for them to be using terms like alpha, beta, delta, gamma, epsilon versions as they've been found and typified. Tip, what would be the right term for it?
Typified.
Typified,
Yeah.
categorized, whatever. As they've been isolated and recognized, which is, as far as I'm concerned, brilliant. I would never have thought about it at the time. And for things like the Spanish flu, I never thought of it in terms of at the time. When I'd first learned about it, I never thought of it in terms of, well, Spain is dank and ugly and all that kind of stuff. But then again, I wasn't living around, World War One, so I know it was roughly World War One time. Go with me on this one. So I never thought about it in those terms, but still, not hearing this stuff being called by the California virus, the Ohio virus, the whatever ones they've been using already. It's nice to hear that they're actually sticking to, meaning the news outlets. They're sticking to more than they're not these standardized versions. I'm actually very glad for that.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest issue was, trying to get all of the scientists and, the World Health Organization and all that to come up with some standardization. They were having a hard time agreeing on what to go with.
Yeah.
And at the time, we only had one variant to deal with, so it never occurred to them that we were going to have to come up with some nomenclature for so many variants. And after a while, it starts getting really confusing if you're talking like, about the B117 and the P1 and, all of that. They started having so many that all of that was getting lost in translation. And it'd be like, well, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And most of them had the same lineage. That's where the B came from. And, but they started differing so much that, you know, they were running out of like numbers. We had the B lineage and then we had the P lineage. And it was getting to be overwhelming to keep up with what they were.
Yeah. Yeah, and better that they used a standardized system than just going with, okay, this is the SARS COVID. No, wait a minute.
COVID 2.
SARS COVID 2. SARS. So, I'm trying to come up with an example of how it could run. SARS COVID 2 Lisbon strain Mark 7. You know, you don't want to be dealing with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
And
matter where it emerged. There are going to be emergences of so many different variations because they're all based off of the the original strain. Suck.
yeah. But you do have to have some sort of different names depending on locations, because some of the mutations that they have share mutations with others, but then have different ones from others. And you're starting to have so many different variants of concern now, and variants under investigation. And what the difference between those two is, variant of concern is we know for sure that it has mutations that either make it, more contagious or more lethal or both. And then they have variants under investigation where they've had, mutations pop up in a lot of samples, and they're not sure yet if it evades antibodies or if it's more lethal or what. And that's why it's under investigation.
Yeah.
And at first they were naming those as like VOC, 2020, whatever month, and then VUI, whatever, time, year, date that it was first detected. And that got really confusing too.
Yeah, when you get everything into a database and you want to look it up that way, I mean, hey, sure. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me as somebody that deals with data. Joseph might completely disagree with me, and after seeing some of the database work that he's done, and I say database, but it's very much a, the God, I gotta explain about that. That is very much the database, because the relational stuff that I saw him working with is just kind of way out of my scope. But yeah, when you're trying to talk about this stuff, just person to person to person, yeah, that's it's not that
You
easy.
have to have a standardized way to communicate, especially among the scientific community.
Yeah, kind of like using the metric system. I'm sorry, was that a dig
Yeah,
in the
or
1970s
going
again?
by the Pango lineage, clade. I mean, they had to come up with something.
Yeah. Again, Stephanie, of course, our incompetent government has allowed Delta into the UK, where it is running rampant. It is so bad our PM has had to rescind removing lockdown restrictions tomorrow.
Yeah,
At the
and
risk
something like
of
90%, yeah, like 90% of their cases now are of that, the
yeah,
Delta.
and also followed it up. We're not under full lockdown, but large social gatherings were going to be allowed. Yeah. If this particular variant, especially any variant, is as bad as what we think it has been, as far as to being able to be as infectious as it is, I hate to say it this way, but it really wouldn't too much matter who was in any governmental position. What's the old expression? The weakest link?
Yeah.
It just needs an opportunity. And, there's only so much that you can do. I mean, hell, for all we know, it could fly in on a Canada goose across international borders. I'm using that as an example only because, well, after having found out that Canada goose were introduced to the UK within the last 200 or 300 years, yeah, you guys are just, you got cobra chickens. You're welcome. Maybe that was just Canada's way of getting back at you guys. Passive aggressively, because
We deserve it.
The Canada Goose
Yeah.
is very
And
much the if ever you wanted to go ahead and talk about how the folks observant to the Jewish faith put all of their sins into a chicken, swing it over their head, and then kill it and give it away to somebody else to eat. Yeah, the Canada Cobra chicken is very much what happens when all of those sin chickens get reincarnated.
huh?
It's kind of hard to argue that point.
Yeah, they're pretty terrifying Canadian geese, and they don't mess around.
Yeah, and Stephanie adding to it, we did not blacklist India, and thousands of infected people arrived.
Yeah.
It again, yeah, it's easy enough to go ahead and put the blame out, and I'm not saying that it's undeserved. It's just that there are very few areas where this whole damn thing has been managed appropriately. And the places that have been in the Pacific Southwest. Does that qualify? Yeah, Oceania, I guess is the best way of putting it. New Zealand did a kick-ass job. And a good portion of that was because they said, nope, not having it. And they just did what needed to be done. And nobody yelled and complained. Oh well.
Well, Australia has taken this, seriously too. If they happen to have like 8 outbreaks in a state, they shut the whole state down and you're not leaving.
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, the sizes of the states in Australia, though, you should take a look at a map. There are wow, they're big. They're big. They're big areas. And you
They
can actually
haven't.
live in most of them.
Yeah, I mean, but they take it that seriously where,
Yeah.
oops, we've got 8 cases in Victoria, slam the borders shut and impose mandatory quarantine on anybody who comes in.
Yep.
And you pay for it yourself if you go in quarantine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good on them there. Come to think of it, I haven't heard specifically from Jake Fort Wharton in a long time. I should
I
really
haven't
check in
either.
on him. Because every once in a while he would ask me to be on his show, which I'm always thrilled when, somebody says, hey, we'd like to recognize you as being somebody in the community, so you want to join us? I put out the word to other folks, but I don't usually get anybody back because, well, couldn't we record something at a different time with you?
Nope.
This is the time that we do it, man. What do you want?
Live show.
Yeah. Yeah, is what it is. So, anyway. Yeah. So, let's deal with some stuff that's a little bit more on the fun side. For those of you that are listening after the fact, you're not going to be able to see this gesticulation. That is not a bad word. Okay. When I went ahead and I used the wavy fingers over the top instead of the air quotes thing, because we had decided a long time ago that the wavy fingers over the top was the HCTV equivalent of air quotes, because this is just prissy and we really didn't like it. Or more appropriately, the little red-headed bitch didn't like doing it. So she did it like this, and it became a thing. I miss Heretic Woman a lot. We miss Heretic Woman a lot. I swear to you, if there were some way of keeping her computer powered on when it was given to, it went over to Beth, didn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I could well imagine that there would still be about 3 dozen Chrome tabs open on that computer for just Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she have like Firefox and Opera and like 3 different browsers on there just so that she could have like a whole bunch of different things open for different reasons? And crazy.
I'm not sure, but I know she had a ridiculous amount of tabs open.
I count. I loved it when she shared her screen because you take a look at some of the episodes where I'm watching her sharing a screen, and you will see me leading up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 23. You've got 28 tabs open tonight, woman. Oh, that's just on that one. That's just on that one browser. Mother. All right, whatever. But she was good.
Yeah.
She was good.
Yes, she was.
And why did she have all those open? Just so that she could deal with all these guys that wanted to marry her, that were quoting the Quran at her. Oh, she was good.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
she was
was. And her picture is one of the first things that I see every morning when I wake up. That Greg Siska had sent me after the funeral.
Yeah.
And it's a picture with her wearing her colander.
Still got mine next to me under the table over here.
What, a plastic colander?
Oh no,
that
hell
you wore
no.
on your head?
No.
The picture.
No, I have
A colander.
not
Well,
only do I have a colander, this was my Italian. Oh wait. This was my maternal grandmother's colander, who was off the boat from Italy. Crap, what year was it? I think she said it was 1905. I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, she was the one who lived in Brooklyn, and she was the one that I learned some Italian from, where apparently for those of you that know Italy is a very long country. So just like with America, where you have southern and then you've got northern, you have very much northern and southern dialect as well in Italy. And I did not know this because I learned from my grandmother, if you wanted to get something, if you are serving people for dinner, you lean over and you say, "Dammelo piatta." Give me your plate. Apparently, a friend who learned Italy because the family came from northern Italy looked at me one night and was like, did you mean dammelo piatta? Piatte? Yeah, kinda. Why? Because you said it wrong. No, it didn't. Anyway, that colander was from that grandma, and when she passed, that was one of the things that I specifically wanted. I know, it sounds silly, right? I mean, it's
Doesn't?
an old, I don't even know what metal it is. Even it's got no marks. It's got nothing on it to identify it. It's just, this was her colander, and I wanted her colander. So that's what it took from my grandma, very specifically. So I keep it right next to me over there.
Silly.
It's one of those things. We hold on to whatever it is we hold on to. Anyway, so yeah, I got that one. Heretic Woman's colander, however, was adorable.
Yeah, it was. She bought it, I think, off of Adicon or something like that, and the woman had a limited number, and this was on a headband, and it was a little blue plastic one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
So cute.
It was. And the funny part of it was, if I remember right, I don't think that she ever did it, but she could have worn it in conjunction with the other headband with the little horns on it.
I didn't get the headband with the colander on it because Sammy kept it. But a couple of her headbands, remember the one with the pirates? Little pirate skulls?
Oh God.
It was black and white and had the little jolly, what is it, Jolly Ranchers? Is that what it's called on it? You know, the skull and crossbones.
Roger. Jolly Roger.
Jolly Roger, sorry. I have that headband. And also had another one with black and purple feathers on it that's really cute.
You
And I'm
know,
so honored to have them.
it's funny. Very specifically saying about the Jolly Rogers is that a couple of years ago, you're gonna love this. What was it? It was I forget which year it was, but the furry convention that I go to or have gone to in Pittsburgh, Anthrocon. One year, the theme was baseball. So for the people that were going to be joining me for breakfast with Fred, which was where we get folks together at 8 o'clock in the morning on a con Saturday, and walk and take the take the train to the Fred Rogers Memorial statue. It's not actually what it's called, but that's effectively what it is. I made little badges for everybody that looked like it was a recreation of the Fleet baseball cards, but it had Mr. Rogers' red sweater on it. And the name that I gave it for the folks were the, oh God, what the hell was it? The Fred Rogers, oh God, the Jolly Trawler, the Trolley Rogers.
Oh, yeah, the
I forget,
trolley.
the Trolley Rogers, I think is what it was. Red Trolley Rogers. That's what it was. The Fred Red Trolley Rogers. Because it was the red sweater and the trolley was red, and it was, oh my God. It was adorable, and I made so many of those, and I only had like 3 or 4 people that came out, and I felt so disappointed that we didn't have more people. That sucked. But
Yeah, that would have.
I loved that design and that pun. It was so much fun putting that one together.
Yeah. Speaking of Heretic Woman and mementos, you remember the pink water bottle that she had from Pride?
The pink one, the blue one, the I forget what she called. She had 3 of them, if I remember right.
Yeah, guess who's got the blue one? Me. I was told she would have wanted me to have it, so I have it.
For those of you that perhaps don't know, it has a very distinctive shape to it. A very distinctive and, dare I say, helmeted shape to it.
But I feel so honored to have that.
You know, I want to be really, really crude, but I'm not going to. I'm very much not going to.
The
Screwed, of
funniest
course I
thing,
will. Have you ever spilled when you've been drinking out of that thing? Have you? Because I want pictures of that.
I haven't ever I haven't ever drank out of it, and I don't have it out in public. Um, yeah.
You need to go bike
But
riding and take that with you. That's what you need to do.
but the funniest thing ever was when she stuck it to her forehead and said, "Look, I'm a unicorn." Just that just killed me. But yeah, I miss her.
You get her, you get Miss Ashley, and you get Susie. All together at one time. Stone cold sober. I don't know if I'd be able to survive that combination. Because I don't think I was ever there for that combination. No, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
But one of the funniest things, and I don't think you were there for this one, and I'm so disappointed the video didn't come out, was when, Deb and Miss Ashley, and I think Susie and Bill were with us, Bobby C was with us, but we went to a cemetery, and um, Deb was pretending like she was ghost hunting and had this little detector and was like, oh my God, were you there?
I wasn't, but I remember hearing about this.
And Dave motherfucking Foda dressed up like Jesus, hiding in the cemetery with a bottle of some alcoholic beverage.
Yeah,
It was hilarious. And there was video, but it didn't come out. And I'm so disappointed.
I can get away with saying it. That's our Dave.
That was the best ever.
Yeah, it's not going to happen anymore.
I
For a
know.
number of reasons that we're not going to go into.
But that was a wonderful memory for me. It was so funny.
Having the opportunity of getting together, being able to have a portion of the AOA family together at one time down there in Hickory, that was, for a brief shining moment, I actually felt like I was part of the community.
A
I,
lot of the community is splintered.
yeah, this is not the alcohol talking by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to kind of give off a little piece. I've wondered over the last, I don't know how long it's been, a little while, whether it's worth the show going on at times, believe it or not. And not for the reasons you might think. And I feel bad about it because it feels like the reasons for it for me are selfish pride. Because trying to get. There are two podcasts that I've tried to get guests on with us. I don't think it's I don't think it would be good form for me to name names. So I'm not, but I'm a couple of podcasts that I've respected and I've really enjoyed and not been able to get, and it's really disheartened me in asking others. So we've had a couple of guests on, and it's been wonderful having Dr. Conway on. He's an absolute delight. I love him. He is a wonderful person. Dr. Nuka, who, by the way, is doing really great for himself in his new academic digs. I love to have him on sometime to be able to talk about what it's like being, a professor and teaching about, the stuff and having his students, having their eyes open to stuff. But there are a number of podcasters that I've really wanted to have on, and I felt like I've gotten the brush off for various reasons. And that's tough. And I really try to not let it get to me. And I will admit I've kind of failed on that aspect. It does get to me. And that's part of the reason why I don't ever want to be in a situation where I will not do. If I'm asked to help out, to be on a show, when do you want me on? And I will make arrangements so that I will be able to be there. You know, it to me, it's just the way to do. Because if somebody asks me, all right, you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit. But it's also a matter of you're asking me to help. That's an honor to me. For somebody to say, look, I need help. Okay, what do you need? When do you need it? So, unless something is really, really, really pressing otherwise, I will not say no. And I really wish that we had more that could be with us. You know. And that's why, specialty moments like this, as far as I'm concerned, if somebody wants to be on with us, doors wide open. And, maybe we see about doing this a little bit more often, where we make it where folks can just show up. I know, I'm opening up myself to having Nephilim show up again, but you know what? An opportunity to go ahead and shut them down again. You know what? I could actually say, you know what? It's the alcohol talking. It's completely not the alcohol talking.
I mean, I think a lot of it, to be honest, is we can't do any taped segments and the hour is so late because, I've talked to some people about having them on and that is an issue.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I've been in contact with folks where the hour would be very similar to like for Joseph, and they've said, maybe not using the same terminology, but they've basically said bugger that on a Sunday morning. No, I can't really do that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, take all of it, quite as personally as you do just because of that.
I know. And I knew going into it that setting it up for this time was going to make it exceedingly difficult. But, law of averages says that, sooner or later, statistically speaking, you get somebody. There are very few that we are lucky enough to be able to get. So it's hard for me to reach out because I keep not wanting to be slapped down.
Yeah,
I know it's
you
not really being slapped down, but after a while, that's kind of what it feels.
Well, you have to keep in mind that we did, manage to get like Shelley Seagal on and, Tracy Harris,
Several
Aaron
times.
Raw. Yeah, several times. Aaron Raw.
Yeah, that, Aaron, that is one interview that I will completely own up to. I botched that. I don't know what the hell happened to me that one time. I absolutely botched that, and I know it. That is one of the few actual regrets that I've got for a show. I don't know what the hell happened to me that one night.
Yeah, it happens. We're all entitled to an off night.
Yeah. So let's see. Who else have we had that's been notable and entertaining fun? Well, we've had Jake Farwarden. We've had, like I said, a good portion of the AOA family, which has been nice.
Yeah, Bobby C. Ashley. Yeah.
Yep, the no religion required family, the barroom atheists,
Callie Wright.
Callie, yep, and I know full well that there are a number of others that we've not. We actually during our first year, while we were still kind of getting our footing on everything, we had the crew from Scathing Atheist on video for their very first time. So people got to see them for the very first time because they agreed to be on our show. Poor guys. So there was that. God, that was a long time ago.
And then we've had, a lot of people that used to do podcasts and vlogcasts that no longer do them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. We know full well that Beyond the Trailer Park has been hard pressed to be able to keep going. We know that, and we also know full well that it's in the works to have something continuing. Not quite sure what the overall look and feel is going to be, but it's not dead yet. But it's so weird to think back on it and realize that is it fair to say that we're basically the only one that's left by name under the original name and ownership from the old AOA crew?
As far as I know, yes. I know Professor Stevens not doing any, and
not on a continuing basis, but he was very nice to get the opportunity of spending a little bit of time with us. So there is that.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't have a regular, gig anymore doing that. I don't think any of them do.
Callie is still doing under. I forgot what the name of the show is now.
Yeah, I mean, she's even, gone to something else rather than doing her atheist manifesto show.
Yeah.
And a lot of the podcasts that, I've been on and ones that I listen to all the time, are defunct now, and it's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough going. Maybe I should, kind of get over myself a little bit and ask George Robb to come on. Because he's been doing his for long.
Forever.
Yeah. It's been quite a long time. No, wait a minute. Didn't he relatively recently pass 400 episodes? Was it? Or something?
I'm not sure.
I forget exactly how many it was, but he had a thing for this like
Exorbitant.
See, thank you. I'll come back to that in a second. Number of episodes, and and he does it himself. So, but then again, he also writes it out, scripts it out. It's not a back and forth kind of thing like what we got.
Right.
But see, this talking thing that I've got a problem with. I have been saying that it's good that we're coming up onto the summer when I would normally be taking my temporary sabbatical from doing my radio streams, because I'm getting to the point where I can't pronounce things again, which is a good indicator that I need a break. Granted, it's not like I'm talking 8 hours a day. It's usually a 2-hour set or 3. One. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. So it's 6 plus another 3. So it's 9 plus this show. So, I'm not talking an exorbitant amount, but it's just after a while, it's starting to rail down on me, and cutting back to just a 3 hour, 3 hour radio stream, and this show. It gives me an opportunity also to kind of get through all the stuff that I've got in my music collection. Jesus, some of the stuff that I've got. Dalan had fun at my expense last night and said, I forget exactly how he worded it, but it was basically that, I had said to the folks that were listening, you'd be surprised at some of the music that I've got. And he quipped right back, you're surprised at some of the music that you've got. And I'm just like, that's true. That's actually very true. I've got stuff that I've downloaded like crazy that I did not realize that I even had it in there, and people have asked for it. And it's just like, I don't think I've got that. Oh, I've got that. I don't know what this song. Oh, I remember this song. I love when that happens. Music that I've forgotten that I'd forgotten. I love it when that happens. Oh, I hate that it happens, but I love it because that means that all of a sudden it's just like, I don't know what this song, I don't recognize the name of the song. I don't recognize the name of the group. I don't know what in the hell it is that you guys are talking. I know this song. Oh my God, this song came out when I was 3 years old. I remember this song.
Yeah.
I love it when that happens.
Well, I help my husband out quite a bit because he will get some tune stuck in his head, and he's not very, up on pop music or pop culture or anything like that. I mean, he teaches music theory, and he's more of a classical music kind of guy, but that is, what he went to school for originally, and, he teaches that, among other humanities type subjects and things. And he'll get a tune stuck in his head and have no idea what it is. And I'll tell him, oh, that's, name a song and it's by this artist. And he's like, oh, okay, thank you. That's been bugging me. And it might be something like a song like Smoke on the Water. That was his earworm yesterday. And he doesn't know the words and he couldn't think of the name of it. And it was making him crazy. Or a song by Aerosmith. And so I'm a big help about that because he's like, thank you, that's been bugging me, and I don't know the words, so I couldn't Google it.
That's actually really funny for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a few albums, that were things like Jim Croce or the Beatles, trying to think what else he had. A couple of John Denver albums, but mostly it's classical music. Or it's, choral music.
It's too easy for people to look at a specific genre of music, especially classical and choral music, and just be, okay, yeah, so he's the tweed jacket, elbow patch kind of turtleneck sweater kind of listening kind of guy. And
He was.
And
I know it's stereotypical, but he was a philosophy professor.
No, I get that. I get that. But what I was going for was that it's easy to think that people are just really stodgy for that, and that there's nothing for the modern folk to listen to this music and think, okay, this is actually entertaining, and a good portion of it is because we don't really think about the intricacies of what goes into music in that era, and don't really recognize all of the musical engineering that goes in under the hood, because it's just what we accept now and don't really think about it. I mean, give me a perfect example. You listen to some of the what's a good way of listening to it? The earliest, some of the earliest stuff from the Chicago Transit Authority.
Yes.
And you listen to what's a good one? What's a good one?
I don't know, 25 or 6 to 4 is a good example.
Yes.
Or
25 or 6 to 4 is a very good example. You listen to that and you will realize how, quote unquote, thin the music is. because it's just the band. They could have just as easily had the. All right, now let's see. Three. Hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 core members, if I remember correctly, and they might have had 2 other guys. Let's call it 10 pieces. Let's call it 10 musicians, just for argument's sake. You could listen to 25 or 64, and you could conceivably pick out all 10 musicians, all 10 instruments.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then you move on to, let's say, Kool and the Gang. I'm trying to think of Got to Get You Into My Life. You could listen to that and you could hear the core members of the band and the core instruments. And then if you kind of listen, close your eyes and tune out some of the stuff and tune into the stuff that's in the background, you will hear a guitar plucking the background that's got just like this, and you didn't realize what was going on, and you'll hear violins, the typical disco orchestra in the background, and you'll hear the stuff that's going on with the strings back over there that otherwise it was just part and parcel of it all, but you didn't really think about it because, I mean, who's thinking about deconstructing music when you're just enjoying the hell out of yourself? And then you listen to the stuff that was classical, choral, especially choral music where it is done in an area where you have natural resonance from where it's being performed in. Mm-hmm. And you listen to how you get a handful of human voices that suddenly sound like it's just a blanket of sound on top of you. And you suddenly realize, wait a minute, give me the liner notes. How many people? We've got 7 people singing. No. And it sounds like it could be, 24 people. And it's just all in one take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also likes to listen to YouTube videos of, like one person playing acoustic guitar and things like that. But, to be fair, when he got his master's degree, it was in organ performance.
Ooh.
And so he also likes to listen to, different organ pieces that are done on, these huge, these organs with these huge pipes on it and things like that. But, he
cathedral
played organ.
Organs.
Yeah, cathedral. But that is what he got his master's degree in. And, he also played piano and cornet and flute and harpsichord and banjo. And also, sung in the Arkansas Bach Chorus. Okay. So all of that is things that are interesting to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some classic songs like Angie by the Rolling Stones that he likes. There's a couple of songs by, Willie Nelson that he likes, but he's not big on popular culture. So he's into all these other intricacies of, classical music, and he even listens to things, like Bach and Chopin and things like that, because that is just what he went to school for. That is what he teaches. That is such a big part of his life.
That's what sparks his interest.
And, I was so proud of him when, Bill Clinton had his first inauguration. My husband actually played piano at his inauguration. How about that?
I did not know that. Or at minimally, I did not remember about that.
And we were so poor at the time that we couldn't afford for me to attend to go see him. But I did get to see him on TV for 2 seconds, you know. But to me, that was such a huge honor that he got to do that.
That is, wow. That's something.
Yeah.
That is
And,
really
you know,
something.
unfortunately, he can no longer play. His hands don't work right because of age. But playing is what gave him joy.
God, those those instruments. I mean, it's hard for me to call a cathedral pipe organ an instrument
Hmm.
because it borders on the absurdity of it becoming simply part of the edifice itself.
Yeah.
It's absolutely an astounding piece of engineering. And
Hmm.
if memory serves, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Everybody knows this piece of music, even if you don't recognize it by name and title. Toccata and Fugue in D minor. We all know it.
Hmm. Hmm.
First off, it has been used so many times since, and it's a wonderful piece of music. But if memory serves, I think if what I had been told was correct, one of the main uses for it was to be able to test how these organs sounded. And by sounded, I mean how they performed. Not always necessarily do these individual pipes sound correct, but does the entire unit operate the way that it's supposed to and give you the feeling and the tuning and give you the vibration through your ears that you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. I, however, would like to believe that that made a hell of a lot of sense. It's basically the musical equivalent of the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. You know? Oh God,
Well, it's
it's
a good standard to test with, and
yeah.
everybody knows it.
Well,
Or
now
not. Well, I mean, everybody is familiar with that, you know, especially if they happen to, you know, have watched old school horror movies or anything like that.
or played oh God, what the hell video game was it back in the 80s? God, I've forgotten which game it was now. Might have been Tempest. Anyway, doesn't matter. Knowing me, I'll go looking up. I'll figure it out later. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, anyone who is a music conductor is one of the fittest people you will ever know. Don't let that tuxedo fool you. These people can outrun most other people because you don't realize how much energy you need to have to conduct. I learned just how out of shape I was when I took conducting class in college. And let me tell you, that's an eye-opening experience. Sure, you can sit in your car all day and no, man. You want to know what you're doing? You need to know how to keep your fingers together so that you've got the strength to give to everybody. And you need to know what an ichthys is. If you don't know what an ichthys is, you were not a music student. It's not a bad word, and it's got nothing to do with fish. That's a different word.
Yeah. I just, you know, my husband can, you know, still teach in anything humanities related he can teach, or, you know, philosophy, ethics, things like that. And, you know, that's, he got his, you know, one doctorate in humanities and another one in philosophy. But, you know, I mean, it's I'm glad that he did it, but it's really sad for me to see that he's, you know, lost ability because of his hands.
It is. It is sad. And as someone who loved performing, I get that. I absolutely get that. And there is no greater thrill. There is no greater thrill than suddenly losing yourself in the music and
Oh yeah.
talking through your instrument. I have only ever had one opportunity for that. And I'm fortunate enough that I have it recorded. It was the last performance that I had done for the Town of Babylon All-Star Jazz Band back on Long Island before I moved up here. And as the bass player, granted an electric bass guitar, but as the bass player in a big band, you don't get the opportunity of soloing very often. You know, it's the trumpets, the bones, the saxes.
Clarinet.
Well, we didn't have a clarinet player.
Well, yeah, usually jazz bands, for some reason, they don't take them, and that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, especially considering, if I remember right, clarinet and saxophone are basically the same kind of instrument. Theoretically, you should be able to switch back and forth, but be that as it may. So the piano player, the drummer, they'll all get a solo sooner or later if they want it. But because it was my last year playing with them, and I'd been playing for several years with them, the director had gone ahead and said, "Okay, you know what? We'll give you a solo in the first set, and we'll give you a solo in the second set this year." Okay. And also, as an aside to that, the very last song was a souped-up version of the Flintstones theme. Now you know the Flintstones theme.
Yeah.
Okay, so reminding you, this is where the beat was for the the TV version.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, we're ready to go, and he's looking up over at me. He's just like, "You good? You ready to do this?" And I looked over at him, just like, "Let's do it, Sal." Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 4. Now, here's where the bass comes in. It's a walking bass line. Yes, I remember, because oh my god, my fingers were flying through that whole damn thing, and I'm just But the song that I got the solo on, where I literally thought in music, was for the old standard Satin Doll.
Aww.
It's a lovely piece. It's a very just do 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 ba ba da ba 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 da. Yes, all these years later, I can. It's a simple song to start off with, and it goes through a couple of different pieces, but it's basically a nice swing jazz blues. And I was fortunate enough to, like I said, I got a solo, which was amazing for me. And I had specifically asked for not a completely open. I asked for drummer to keep time nice and easy with me, and to have at the halfway point have the piano player give me the chords. As the old joke is, you play it like you're not getting paid. So just a couple of notes, a couple of chords, and we ended up syncing up a couple of great hits that independently just we actually just kind of hit in the right spots together. It was great. And I came out of it, and I was just looking out at everybody and just, what just happened to me? It was great. It was great. Maybe, maybe one of these days I'll, since I said I've got it recorded, maybe one of these days I'll put it out there for folks to be able to listen to. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I don't have anything like that, unfortunately. All of ours were recorded on cassette tapes. Yeah, my band director would tape it on a reel to reel and then put it on tapes.
I got somebody back over there. I still haven't done anything with when I was on College FM.
Well, all of my stuff was stolen, so I don't have anything like that. I had it in a storage unit, for a little bit, and somebody cut the lock and took everything except for a really ugly ass love seat and a box of Brillo pads. So all of my prom pictures, my medals, everything they got. So I don't have anything like that.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I did manage to find a recording, of 1983 vinyl of Tennessee All West Band when I was in that. So I do have a recording with me on it. I was not first here at that time, but
It's something.
I was first here Memphis Youth Symphony, so I got all of the solos and people had to tune to me and all that other stuff. And I was first here in high school and got all the solos for 3 years. And when I was, when I went to Memphis State, which is now University of Memphis, I was also first chair in that band and got all the solos. And what was funny is, after I started them, I was okay, but the first few seconds I would be shaking like a leaf because I had horrible stage fright. But, it was really, fun to play those. And, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed band so much.
I can't say I was to blame you.
And I was happiest, when I was playing. And, I don't know if this is a good thing or a kind of sad thing, but, rather than go out on the weekends and do stuff, I spent hours playing. And it was not unusual for me to play for 5 or 6 hours at a time.
The story from one of my music past music directors said, one from high school. He had apparently played time with Lionel Hampton, which was great, amongst other guys that he talked about. But one of the ones that I remember him talking about was Doc Severinsen, who Doc, when he and his band would go out on tours, especially, the band got a little annoyed. A little, only just a little, because Doc would get done with the show and he'd go back to the hotel room and he would still practice for like another 2 hours. And they'd be like, Doc, come on, man, time to break time. Nope, practicing, have a good time. But from what I understand, he was a really nice guy. So it's the top of the hour.
We actually made it with just 2 people. I'm so amazed.
Well, let's call it 2.5.
Well, 2.5, but I was able to hold my own since it was not like a serious topic.
Yeah, and I'm calling it 2.5 because, well, Dalan was here for part of it, but we've also got that red-headed ghost over her shoulder too. So I'm gonna say that she's part of it, regardless.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and call it a night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you not just for being with us, specifically for this show, specifically tonight, but for being with us and every once in a while letting us know that you're there, because that means more than you can believe. It really does. We don't go ahead and do the usual, like, comment, subscribe, share, send us money on your page. No, it's not what it's all about. It's about the community. And thank you for letting us be part of yours. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Brigid, this is not at all what I thought we'd end up with after all this is said and done. But I'm proud and honored that you asked and damned near insisted on being with us. And thank you for not being put off by my being careful for you.
Well, thank you for being careful for me, because it was with good reason. Trust me.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me a chance to be on. And, that was Heretic Woman's doing after meeting her at ReasonCon.
That bitch.
Well, she's the one that said we need more female representation.
She's right. She's absolutely right. And I have no problem with anyone that wants to get in touch and say, hey, I'd like to be on. Infrequently, regularly, once a month, whatever. So, so good. So thank you. Don't worry, I'll come back to you in a second. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you especially. You've been with us for a very long time. And
yep.
You know how I talk about, on many an occasion, I will use the expression family of choice. You're part of our family of choice. Thank you. And on behalf of all of us, really, really hope that you're able to get better and better and better, maybe beyond what we think you might be able to. We'd really like for that to have happened for you. So, to you. Yeah. Take care of yourself on that. I want to individually thank some of the past voices that have been with us. From early on, Witchy Bunny, thank you. Gavin, a pleasure. Chris, miss you, man. It's good to see you every once in a while on social media, but you hope that you take good care of yourself. UnrenownedTech, I've known for a long time in various different aspects. He's good people, and just I'm glad that he's part of this whole damn thing. Joey, he's working on getting through stuff, and I'm also very proud to have him as part of my furry family first. And I'm not going to say that expression again. Joseph, I'm so glad that I'm terribly honored that he gets himself up at dark stupid in the morning to be able to join us as often as he does. I mean, I could not ask, and I don't ask. I've said it many a time publicly. People are on voluntarily. We don't make a job of it. We're here when we're here because we choose to be here. I'm the only one that really has to be here for the show to happen. So, thank you guys all. The folks that we've been lucky enough to swindle onto the show, Scathing Atheist, Dr. Nuka, Tracy Harris, Beth, all of the AOA folks from way early on, Professor Stephen, Bobby and Ashley, Bill and Susie, Cash, even briefly at one point. Like you said, Callie, I'm trying to remember who else did we have for that 100 night? Oh God, I forgot who the hell else it was.
We had Teresa McBain, but she has since reconverted and left the atheist community and
Okay.
unfriended everybody who was an atheist.
Dr. Conway. I don't even remember.
Oh, and Vicky Garrison. We had her as well.
Okay.
And if anybody forgot who she was, she was the ex-Quiverful person who had the blog no longer quivering.
It has been an honor to be able to do this. And I know full well that what I started it with at the top of the show, where Cash said, if you could only help one person, if you knew you were going to help one person, would you still do it? I know for an absolute fact that we've already had our one person.
Yep.
So anything at this point is gravy, and I'll take it. Brigid, thank you so very much, many times over. You take care of yourself this week, huh?
You too.
Come on, it wouldn't be the end of the show if you didn't go ahead and do it. You know what? Let's start off. Fuck the old Q party. Let's just go ahead and start off right from there. Let's go with that. Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson,
Especially him.
Yeah. And whoever it is from Congress that was saying that it was just a bunch of people coming in to visit the place. Meanwhile, all the surveillance videos shows him crapping his pants and scared and holding against the wall to make sure that nobody shot him.
I know who you're talking about. I
Yeah,
can't
fuck
remember
you
his
too.
name off the top of my head. Yeah, fuck you too.
Well, I'm sure there's more than just one of them.
And all of you that said that this was not an insurrection, okay, technically you're correct. It was a failed insurrection.
Yeah. And as somebody best put it, if it's not dealt with, it will be called a practice run. Let's not have that, shall we?
Absolutely.
They call this the great experiment for a reason. It could still fail. I don't want that to have happen. Not on my watch.
Nope.
I feel like there's more that needs to be said. I feel like there's more that I should tell you. So, I guess that means that we'll be back again next week. And we'll take it from there. Everybody, thank you for being part of our family. If you'd like to be in touch with us, all of our contact information as well as the download link for the audio version of the podcast is over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. And that brings me to the last person. I have to very specifically and clearly thank Dalan. Were it not for him, we would not have a good portion of HCTV. And I am not saying that as hyperbole. The technical information that he has given to making this a thing, I can't help to thank him enough. But I do try to remind him that I have never, ever taken that for granted. He is a good man. And when we have called him the audio bitch, it is with absolute love, because he's the one that called himself that. So screw you, man. Screw you. So everybody, until the next time we get together, I wish you, from the bottom of my heart, and from all of us, past and present, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And I will say this one instead. Tonight, I wish you all to know half the love that I've known with my wife. Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. So until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.